Hello you lovely lot and welcome to a brand new video. My name is Katie and we've got some new things to try. Now we all know Frisk do a rather marvellous selection of papers. Well, they are branching out into mark making mediums and they've very kindly sent me some samples to try. They have quite a selection of different items such as gel pens, chrome markers, fine liners, all those fabulous things, and they kindly sent me some of their alcohol markers from their range. The colours they sent me are cool grey, grey green, cool grey number 9, treetops green, deep olive green, vivid pink, which is actually quite a gorgeous pink, deep violet and cobalt blue. And yeah, they're really nice marker pens. They have a chisel at one end, which is great for larger areas, and then a smaller bullet tip at the other end. Pretty much your standard fare with markers, and that's absolutely fine by me. I was sent these for free. I've not been paid to talk about what I think of these. They just sent them out for me to try, and I think there's quite a few other content creators who've received some of these as well, so be sure to check out their thoughts and opinions. But here are mine. Now, the paper I'm using, ironically, is not Frisk. I'm loving my Scrawler Blanks sketchbook at the moment, and everything just seems to be pouring into there, so that's what I decided to try these in. And I thought I'd go for a bit of an autumnal scene because I'm done with summer now. I want the leaves to change. I want everything to just be fabulous and, well, autumny, I guess. And I took a photo of a local walk near to where I take my lovely Chester. It's all very green still, and I thought, well, I can change that. And so I did. I feel the colours that I was sent by Frisk very much represent autumn, and that's exactly what I went with, and I've said autumn so many times now. I'd very lightly sketched everything out using a red coloured pencil, and the reason being I used a coloured pencil over a graphite one is I tend to find that coloured pencils melt in with alcohol ink a little better. And if you don't want any pencil lines coming through, they're absolutely perfect for that. Now you'll see I kind of went in there pretty loosely with my mark making. Apart from the actual tree trunks and branches, everything else I pretty much just chucked down, and the olive green as well as the deep olive green just worked chef's kiss good. I also used the grey green, or it might have been the cool grey, for those tree trunks, and then you'll have seen that I threw something from a pipette on there. If you're a bit of a regular to my channel, you know I love to do this with alcohol markers, and I like to throw some isopropyl alcohol on there, or surgical spirit will do, or for my American friends, rubbing alcohol will also do just as good a job. Might be a little bit stinky though. And what this does is it breaks down all of the pigments that you've laid down on the paper via the process of chromatography. Yes, nice big fancy word there. And it also encourages it to spread across the page, and I absolutely love the effect that creates. One of the best things about alcohol markers is how flat you can make an area just using one colour, and as well blending and creating a nice gradient or a nice transition. And I love doing that, but I love throwing the alcohol over the top and just making it do all this crazy groovy stuff because I don't know, it just adds a little bit of depth. But for some reason though, it still seems quite nice and flat to work on, at least. It's kind of hard to explain. Once that area's dried off, and it does dry off really quickly, I go over it again with some more colours, and that's where the vivid pink as well as that deep violet come in quite handy. Again, that just brings out some nice autumnal colours there. One thing to bear in mind when you're using alcohol markers, if you've never used them before, make sure that you've either got a paper that handles it and it doesn't bleed through, and Frisk do a marker paper. However, marker paper is just not a favourite of mine in general. I just don't like how thin it is. I like my paper to be quite thick to work on, so the paper in this book is a cartridge paper. Again, if you're going to use something like cartridge paper, it's quite porous and the ink will spread just a little bit further than you expect when you use it directly from the pen. So just bear that in mind if you're going to use it on a cartridge paper. Secondly, it will definitely bleed through, so make sure you've got something beneath your layer of paper to protect the surface or pages underneath. At this stage, I wanted to, again, douse the paper in isopropyl alcohol. I know I'll probably say that wrong, but never mind. And using a paintbrush this time, just to have a little bit more control. I mean, not a great deal of control, but a little bit more control as to where that ink's going to spread, as well as just flicking little droplets on there. It really does create some really nice textures. And again, it's a case of rinse and repeat and just adding more details over the top, adding a little bit more definition on certain areas and making some decisions as to whether I'm going to keep them defined or if I'm going to throw some more alcohol over the top. And you know, I'm probably going to throw some more alcohol over the top there. So I really like the fact that Frisk is branching out beyond paper and masking fluid. Don't get me wrong, I do love those products and I do use them anyway. But I quite like the fact that they are introducing some mark making materials. I have seen them on Amazon and as well I've seen them in TK Maxx or TJ Maxx for those over the pond. And although saying that I don't know if they've got them in there, but you know where I'm going with this. At least in the UK, TK Maxx has got them in there. The battle to sort out and organise my studio space is still ongoing. However, once I've had a good rummage through everything, and I mean everything, decided what still works, what needs to be replaced, I think I'm going to try some of the Frisk liners as well as their gel pens and maybe their paint markers, although I do have quite a lot of paint markers which are still good at the moment. However, I am quite curious to just see how they fare. But anyway, my lovelies, back to the picture. So I think at this stage I'm kind of ready to just leave things as detailed as they are. I might just throw a little bit more alcohol in there just for look or for whatever, but it's time to add the lines and just keep them defined as they are. I absolutely love how all of the colours have merged, and again you've got those seasonal colours that are peeping through. And I'm just really happy with it. I just really enjoyed this process. Oh yeah, I did go over it a little bit more with some alcohol. But again though, it was just little drops here and there. I might have just made a couple of accidents on there with a bit too much. But you know what, I'm just going to leave it. It's absolutely fine. It just adds to that lovely menagerie of spread colours everywhere. But I do like the fact that most of the definition was kept in. It was time to start adding some line details in there, and I recently purchased a nice fountain pen and some lovely ink. The ink I'm using is the Diamine Writer's Blood, and that just seemed absolutely perfect to add those details in. I think if I'd used a black liner pen, it might have just been a little bit too harsh, whereas this particular colour, chef's kiss good. The pen I'm using, if you're curious, is a Lamy, and I couldn't tell you what the model is, but I got it from Cult Pens because I wanted a treat. And this was the perfect combination, again, just to add those details in there, just bring out some of those forms where the leaves are, and just make it look a little bit more like a nice woodland scene. I'm also not being too strict with my line details here. I'm just kind of keeping it quite loose, using different mark making for different textures. So obviously with the tree trunks I'm going to keep it more line based. That's a bit weird, but I'm sure you know what I'm on about. And then for any of the leaves and foliage, I'm kind of going for a bit more of a scribbly line there. This just helps to add a little bit more definition, perhaps where there might be shadows. And again, I could do that with the marker pens, but I just didn't want that ink to spread any further. And I'm not going to lie, I really like this pen. It's good fun. Now, I haven't got any of the Frisk gel pens at the moment to try, so I've got out my trusty Uniball white gel pen, and this is where I just start adding a few more highlights and things start coming together a little more. And all in all, it was just really fun having a play around with these new markers. If you're interested in markers and you haven't tried them before, I definitely recommend them. Again, I think they're on Amazon. I think you might be able to pick some up from TK Maxx as well. And of course, if you just look on the Frisk Instagram page, I think they've got a link tree there with all the vendors that will sell these. So definitely give them a try and take a look at them. Again, I'm not sponsored, they've just gifted these to me to try, and I'm just being honest, and I really enjoyed working with them. They're nice marker pens. And with that being said, I want to say a massive thank you to Lauren at Frisk for sending these out to me. Honestly, I really do appreciate it, and I love the fact that you care that your artists want to try these and what we think about it. So there we go. Here's the finished result, and I'm really happy with how it came out, and I hope you've enjoyed the process, and if you try these, I hope you've picked up some nice handy dandy hints and tips. In the meantime, I'll leave a playlist and a video I think you'll enjoy, so why not click on one of those? Of course, if you haven't subscribed, why not give me a little subscribe as well? Thank you, as always, for watching. I'll see you lovely lots soon. Bye!